So the Dallas Mavericks have missed the playoffs. Not only have they missed the playoffs, they've missed the play-in, even the extended NBA playoffs.
And they didn't even try to get into the play-in.
The Mavericks were under investigation by the NBA because they sat like all their good players. They were playing with like role players as their starters in their last game. And
if they'd won that game,
they would have been the play-in.
They would have been in the play-in.
They would have been the 10 seed. And now
I don't understand, why would they do that?
That's a good question. They have a top 10 protected pick that I believe the Knicks have. So if they would have won that game, the Knicks would have gotten whatever pick number they would have been. But now I believe they have a top 10 pick, so they retain that pick.
I understand.
So it's a little bit cheap. We'll see what the NBA does. I don't think the investigation's over. Whether or not they award the Knicks that pick or not, we'll have to see. But another curious thing with this last game was Kyrie declined to speak at his end-of-year press conference interview.
I don't think that's strange. You could expect anything from that guy. It doesn't surprise me at all.
You know what? You're probably right about that.
Yeah.
Because the last time we saw him do an exit interview, which was last year, about April with the Nets, where he basically mentioned how he was like co-GM. Him and Katie were co-GMs of the Nets.
That's nuts.
And we figured out what that turned out to be. He requested a trade, and it was a whole debacle that terminated into this. Then the Mavericks going from the 4 seed to the 11 seed. Luka being happy playing basketball to saying that he's not having fun anymore. And it's an entire mess. Now the reports are out that Luka, there's nervousness around the Mavericks organization that next year Luka could request a trade, but he responded with that saying he doesn't know where the report came from. He's happy there. I think that's because he's going to say, hey, Mavericks, don't get Kyrie back. So I want to know your opinion about this. What do you think the next move from the Mavericks should be after going from the 4 seed 2 months ago to now out of the play-in at the 11 seed?
Get rid of Kyrie Irving.
That's step one.
Yeah, that's step one. You don't want that guy. He was just playing on a temporary deal anyway, right?
It was end of his contract.
He's end of his contract. Be interesting to see who wants him at the next year. I bet he'd be playing for one of the lower teams.
You think you?
I don't think he'll be playing for one of the elite teams. They ain't gonna. Nobody's gonna take an elite team is not gonna take a risk on him. He'll be playing for one of the lower echelon teams.
Okay,
I think that's for sure. I think that who is the GM of the Mavericks? That guy ought to be fired too. Who is it?
Why? Why do you think the GM should be fired?
He took a team that was going to go to the playoffs and ruined it.
You wouldn't put that on Mark Cuban?
Not on Cuban. Who is the GM for the Mavericks?
I'll look that up.
They should get rid of him.
Nico Harrison.
Yeah, well, he blew it. I mean, when he brought in Kyrie Irving, that was the end of the team. They were headed to the playoffs. Right. They were number 4 seed. Right? They were doing great. That ruined the whole team chemistry. And guess what? Last year, they should have hung on to Jalen Brunson. Look at the season that guy's had, right?
Right.
He's taken the Knicks to a place they haven't been in a while. And he's one of the big reasons why. And he's made the other players around him play much better. Look at Julius Randle. He's played much better this year. I think Brunson had something to do with that. Why did they let Jalen Brunson go? They should have hung on to him.
That's on Mark Cuban made a comment about that.
They made it to the conference finals last year with that team. Why would they let one of the key pieces of it go?
Mark Cuban said it's because of his dad. Jalen Brunson's dad, I believe, works for the Knicks. So Mark Cuban said that it was more so his dad that got involved with that.
Well, the Knicks ought to thank his dad then, because the Knicks have gone where they didn't think they were going with Brunson in there. They've got a chance to do well in the playoffs, I think.
However, Mark Cuban held Jalen Brunson's bird rights, which means that he could overpay to retain Jalen Brunson, and didn't do that. He had an opportunity to overpay for him and didn't.
He should have done that. That was a huge mistake.
My next move, I agree with you, is to get rid of Kyrie. But who are you going to replace him with? That's the big question. Kyrie and Luka are both tremendous offensive talents, and Luka Doncic's usage rate is absurdly high. Usage rate, for those who don't know, is the amount of plays you're involved in each possession. I think Luka's is like 38%, which is ridiculous. I believe it's second in the NBA, behind, I think, Giannis. So I took a little gander to see what free agents will be available next year. I didn't dive too deeply into this, so I could be wrong on some things. Maybe some guys are I don't know. I think all these guys are either restricted free agents, have player options, or I think all these have bird rights technically, but these are a couple people that I got. So the problem with the Mavericks this year was their defense. Luka doesn't play defense. Jalen Brunson, I think, plays pretty good defense. You got rid of Spencer Dinwiddie and Donovan, or is it Finny Smith? I don't know his first name. Those were two really, really good defenders that you left to, I think they both went to Brooklyn. So you got rid of your best defensive players. You brought in an offensive guru. He's a phenomenal offensive player in Kyrie.
It was a head case.
But you had no defense. So I looked up a couple good defenders. You got Dylan Brooks. He's, I believe, a free agent this upcoming offseason. I'm sure the Grizzlies will try to retain him, but he's like a Patrick Beverly, Draymond Green type of player. He's like a bully on the court. Physical player. He doesn't require the ball every time he gets down the court. He doesn't need to be involved in every single play. Actually, all these players are actually decently low on usage rate. I think that was, I tried to find a guy who would fit that sort of scheme where they can take a little bit of pressure off Luka and they don't need the ball in their hands to be successful. Karis LeVert, he's a part of the Cavs team. The Cavs have the number 1 defense in the league. So you take a guy off that team, and he's a very, very good defensive rating. I think it's better than Draymond Green. I think it's better than Dylan Brooks actually. He's a really, really good defender, a premier guard defender. Same with Gary Trent of the Raptors, another very, very good defender, a very, very high defensive rating. So those two guys, Karis LeVert, actually 3 guys, Karis LeVert, Gary Trent Jr., and Dylan Brooks, all phenomenal defenders, I think, are really, really good defenders. Maybe phenomenal is pushing a little bit, but very, very good defenders. Kyle Kuzma was on the Lakers. Now I believe he's on the Wizards.
Yeah.
On the Lakers, he wasn't really that great. You know, he didn't really blend with LeBron's play style. LeBron requires great shooters. At the time, Kyle Kuzma wasn't all that great. On the Wizards, surprisingly, like Kristaps Porzingis, revitalized his career. Kristaps Porzingis is a great big. He didn't really work well with Luka. He dealt with injuries. Didn't really work that well, so the Mavericks moved off of him. Kyle Kuzma, you bring him into that system. I think he's averaging 21 a game.
Did the Wizards make the playoffs?
No, I don't think they did.
Wow.
I mean, hey, they were the 12th seed.
Yeah.
12th seed. But still, Kyle Kuzma, 21 points a game. I think he has like, what, 21%
I think
usage
he's a
rate?
good player. We saw him play.
And a guy that one of my friends said the Knicks overpaid for, or overspent for, I think they traded a first-round pick, was Josh Hart on the Knicks.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty good guard. He's a good bench player. I think
he gets rebounds.
He's a 7th man. Yeah, he's very, very good. He can step into that role. Low usage rate guy, but he's very, very good. And there's reportedly you also have some guys that I don't think the Mavs would go for, like James Harden. I think is a free agent. He looks like he's going back to. I don't think they need it. They don't want a shooting guard. They have Doncic. Well, I mean, who's your point guard? Luka carries the ball up every time. That's what I'm saying. You want a guy that doesn't need the ball.
Yeah, but I would say they should. I agree with you. They should go for defense, and still let Luka be the main guy in shooting the ball. I'm going to bring up two situations. Maybe bring up one other good offensive guy. Well, I'm going to bring up 2 situations. You tell me whether you're not going to like one of them, but realistically, you got to think about this. The first one is if the Heat don't go far in these playoffs. Do you separate Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Kyle? Do you separate those players? If Bam Adebayo becomes available, do you think, would he work with Luka in that sort of play style? I think maybe. That's not a bad idea. I don't think that's a bad idea. And one that you may not like because it has to do with the Celtics. Yeah. Jaylen Brown has definitely voiced his displeasure with the Celtics, especially the fans. He's voiced his displeasure with the team, and it looks like he's moving off. We talked about not this year, but last year, there were reports he was going to get traded for KD. That obviously didn't go through. This season, he doesn't feel like he's appreciated, I guess. It looks like he's 1 foot out the door of the Celtics. Is he a free agent? No, he's still contractually with the Celtics, but it looks like he's going to be gone. Like he's going to maybe request the trade potentially. I don't know. If they win the championship, that may change. Or he may feel, vindicated and say, hey, I did my job here. I'm going to peace out. Yeah, but if he doesn't have the opportunity if he's not a free agent, then how can he do that? He can request a trade or force a trade, I guess. Next year is his last year of his contract. He's going to be making $28 million next year, base salary. Not bad.
It's not bad. His cap, it's going to be $30 million because he has a $2 million likely incentive.
Oh.
So I think you may Jaylen Brown.
Oh, he'd be a great pickup for the Mavs.
Jaylen Brown is a phenomenal number 2.
No, he'd be a great pickup for the Mavs.
Think about it. With Jalen Brunson, he's a great number 2. He's a very good number 1. Like he's the number 1 guy on the Knicks, I think. Maybe a 1A and then 1B would be Julius Randle. I guess those you could say one or the other.
You know what? When he was hurt, the Knicks still played pretty well, though.
Yeah,
they did play well with Quickly. He played well.
Quickly and Brogdon are neck and neck for 6th man of the year.
Yeah.
We'll see who comes out. I'm going to give it to Quickly, I think. Just ahead over Brogdon. Although Brogdon has played phenomenal as a 6th man for the Celtics.
Yeah.
I told you, when that trade went through, we talked about it on the show. I said that is a great, great pickup.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be a starter. Apparently not.
Well,
they gave
I'd say if Jaylen Brown was available to the Mavericks, you got to jump on that. They have to jump on that.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But if it did, then yeah, he would be the best of that bunch.
And I think if we want to go big man, Bam's not a bad option. Bam's a good number 2 as well behind Jimmy Butler. So, I mean, I think that's what you got to do. You got to go get someone that Luka could actually work with, someone that doesn't require the ball like Kyrie did.
Yeah. Kyrie, was a bad matchup. They should never have gone there.
I think they were just saying who's the best number 2 they can get.
They stuck with the team they had. They were the number 4 seed with the team they had.
Yeah.
They'd be in the playoffs now.
Probably.
With a pretty high seed.
Well, I don't know if they would stay as the 4th seed because KD went to the Suns, but I do think they would at least be in the play-in.
Yeah.
And then benching your starters and all your good players.
But I guess they said, you know what? We weren't going far. We know we're not going far, so let's get the draft pick.
And then the NBA called them out on that, saying, "Hey, no, what? That's a little weird.
Yeah, that is weird, and that's not fair to the fans.
I don't think that, but that's not fair to the other teams as well. You screwed over the Knicks doing that. I don't think. That's gonna be an interesting situation. What the NBA does about that, about the benching and the obvious tank that the Mavericks just did to get to qualify for that protected pick. I don't know. Mavericks get someone that actually works with Luka. I think that's the big statement there. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.